Well everyone, Apple just released iOS and iPadOS 26.2 Beta 3 to all developers, so let's see if there's any new features that you should know about, or maybe some bug performance enhancements that have been happening in the background, because again, Beta 3 means that all the major things have been tied up, it's just a matter of making them better, but who knows, let's see if Beta 3 has some new features for us. Let's get into it. But now, before we continue, if you do enjoy videos like this one where we keep you up to date on all things Apple, consider subscribing to the channel to get more videos like this. But now, let's see what's going on with the build number and the build size. Well, alright everyone, let's get right into it, and just for reference sake, I am using my M4 13-inch iPad Pro, and we're running the latest 26.2 Beta 3. And then in terms of the build size, if we go into our photos, we took a screenshot of this to see what this looked like, and we're about 8 gigabytes in size. So give yourself that, probably twice that, 15 to 16 gigs of open storage in order to get this installed and installed correctly. And then in terms of the build number, let's see how close we are to the RC edition. So we go into our settings, go into our general, go into our about, go into the 26.2. You can see that we're on 23C5044B. So we're probably 2 updates away from the RC edition, so we'll probably have the A version, then the RC, and then finally the public release, which I do think will release towards the end of November, maybe the first week of December, depending on how Apple plans to roll this out, with the public beta probably releasing tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video. But now, in terms of what's new, so now the biggest thing that happened to iPadOS 26.2 Beta 3 is the new form of multitasking. So little by little, Apple has been kind of going back to what people really like. I personally love the new windowing system. If I open up Safari, it's a little bit more familiar. You have your management of windows over here. You have all the different things that you can put up over here. It just feels a lot more Mac-like, but people were missing a couple things. And the first thing that Apple kind of did to answer that was, first off, slide over. So for instance, if I have this, which is the home application, if I want to enter this new slide over mode, I can just go up, go down here, hold down this, and then I'm entering this new slide over window. Now the slide over window works a little differently than how it did before. You can still kind of kick it off to the side so it hides over here and then you can bring it back whenever. But you can resize this kind of to whatever you see fit, but it always stays persistent, and no matter what window you open, this one will always be in the foreground. So it'll always be in front of everything no matter what. So you can see I open up the Files app and it still went behind this because it's in this new kind of persistent slide over mode. Now the update that they made recently is that Apple technically, depending on who you ask, they got rid of split view, which I would argue is still around because you can still kind of get to it. So before, in order to enter the split view, all you had to do was kind of hold down one of these applications and bring it over to one side, and now that's back. So to kind of show this off, what you do here is you just long press on one of the applications, but it's kind of like this long press and drag over, and you can see that it resizes exactly to the space that it's in right there. So I can do that with any of the other applications, long press here, bring it over here, and it does go into that slide overview and just replaces what's behind it, but you can see that behind it, the other one doesn't resize. So if I try to grab this and move it over, then it's right there, and then that's now behind it as well. So it does work as intended. So if I do want to open up, let's say, another Safari window, you can see that it's kind of morphing into different sections. Now I'm on the right-hand side, it's going to see that there's another one open, and I can resize it however I see fit. Now this is only going to work in the windowing mode. So for instance, if I get out of here, go back to the settings, go into my multitasking and gestures, go back to the full screen app mode. If I try to do that, so let's say I open up Safari, it's going to go full screen, and if I try to open up another Safari, let's say the X application, it's not going to do that. So you have to be in the new windowing mode in order for this new old split view to work, but that's something to take into account, and that's the newest feature that Apple's kind of slowly bringing back little by little. One new thing that you might have seen when I first opened up the settings app is if you go into our general, go into our AirDrop, there is this new option here for AirDrop. It says manage known AirDrop contacts. So it says here, you will automatically appear for 30 days to people you have shared one-time code with. So basically what this means is if you have a situation where you want to have AirDrop available to somebody else, but you don't want it to be for everybody or contacts only or something like that, you can create a unique PIN through your known contacts that then the other person presses on, and then that means for 30 days it's kind of saved on there for you, meaning that they can share something with you via AirDrop for 30 days without having to go through any questions or any kind of second authentication or anything like that. Now in terms of being able to show off this feature, I believe this is just a sneak preview into what's possible, but once we're able to show you exactly what's going on, we'll be creating a video to kind of walk you through that process, but that's the newest feature with 26.2 Beta 3. Another small update came to the Games application. This actually came out in 26.2 Beta 2, but they added some refinements in Beta 3 as well. So when you open up the Games application right here, you're able to filter from your library, you have new controller support so you can navigate the Games app with improved controller support, and you're able to track your challenge scores, so you can see your scores update in real time as you play, which is an amazing thing to have. I'm a big fan of Apple Arcade. As you can see, I am a subscriber of it. You can go in here to get all the information that you would ever need. If you guys want to add me, feel free to add me. I play a couple games here and there whenever I want to, but you have your challenges, your achievements, and if you go through your achievements, it goes back so far. Like, you can play this, if you go I can actually filter this if I want to, so if I go up here, press the filter button, date played, all platforms, by the name, so all depends on how you want to do this, but you can go back to, again, I was playing these games in high school, back in like 2012, and these games are still here, which is great. Air Assault, Farm Story, remember Farmville? I don't know if you guys remember that one from way back in the day, but I'm sure people still play it. But at the end of the day, it's cool to kind of go back and revisit all the games that you've played and see all the statistics of all the games as well. And then you have your challenges overview, which is good to see here. Another interesting one has to be in the control center. So if we go into the control center, swipe up from the right, you can see that there's a bounce to it. So now this bounce has been there for a little while now, but you can see that it kind of bounces into place. But there's a new animation when you are opening up something that has options. So for example, if I long press on the Windows app version, you can see that there's a new animation that brings that up, which I think is actually a nice little animation that kind of just works fluidly with how Control Center looks like. Some people are a little bit weirded out by this bounce. They think it's a glitch, but I kind of like it. And you can see that there's a little bit more reflection. And if you mess around with it too much, it could glitch out on you for a little bit, but overall, it has been very stable for me, both on 26.2 Beta 2 and Beta 3. So the Control Center does have a nice new UI and interface. And then I wanted to check this in real time with you guys, but again, with 26.2 Beta 2, we got the new slider for liquid glassification. So we have the ability to make this a solid color, and then we can also have a glassy color, but then we also have the amount of glassiness that we want. So we can go all the way to the right or all the way to the left to make it basically completely transparent, which I'm going to stick to for now, which I kind of do like, but that was available with Beta 2, and it's still available with Beta 3, which is good to know. And then in terms of battery life, let's see what we're dealing with battery life. Now this is going to be a good representation of what it was like with Beta 2, but overall we're getting about, if we go to our battery usage, we're getting about 3 hours and 11 minutes of screen on time overall, but if we go on a day like this one, 6 hours of screen on time, 6 hours and 17 minutes of screen off time, took up over 100% of my battery, but again, we were using it pretty intensely. We go on a day like Monday, we got about 3.5 hours with 61 minutes. So again, I'm getting anywhere from 6 to maybe 8 hours of battery life if I'm using it intensely, and I can definitely push it a little bit more with my M4 iPad Pro if I'm doing something like just web browsing or watching videos over and over again. So always good to know that I'm able to get that kind of battery life. And again, I'm always using kind of the worst battery practices. It's always on my Magic Keyboard, which does drain battery. I never have it to auto lock. I always have the screen brightness all the way up. So there's a bunch of things working against me when it comes to battery life, but overall, battery life has been good enough for me to be able to use this, especially on the go, especially away from a charger. But let me know in the comment down below what you think with your battery life experience on both iOS and iPadOS 26.2, Beta 2, and Beta 3. And then in terms of performance, it's been super fluid. I've been very happy with what 26.2 has to offer. Everything is very snappy, it works as intended. I'm able to kind of go in between whatever I need to. As you guys can see, I'm just kind of swiping through. All the apps open how you would want to. Safari has been wonderful so far, and the windowed mode, which I have a whole video coming out with soon, talking about the window mode and the stage of iPad, and if it can replace your laptop now. So definitely stay tuned for that, but I've just been very happy with how snappy everything's been. As you can see, we're moving, we have the control center, we have all the different applications. If I click on this, then we're able to move this around very easily. Go do one of these and flick it to the side, open up another application, maybe the home app, grab this, make it the whole screen. But then I can also tap in here and hold down here and actually go into that slide overview, which I've been a huge fan of this new slide overview. So there's a lot of things to like when it comes to iPadOS 26.2. Just excited to see what they do in the future, but let's finish up this video, everybody. So that was just about do for this video, everybody. As you saw, there weren't many changes, if any, when it comes to iOS and iPadOS 26.2. We are getting closer and closer to that RC edition, so I do believe the final 26.2 public version should be coming out at the end of November of this year, so everybody can start to take advantage of those new features that Apple's been kind of throwing at us with regular 26.2. But that'll do for this video, everybody. If you did find something new that wasn't mentioned in this video, let's leave it down below. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video at the end of the week to understand exactly what Apple did, but that'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. I do highly recommend checking out the M4 MacBook Air long-term review video, which I'll leave right here, because right now it's $750 on Amazon, and stay tuned for some more content coming up, because Black Friday is right around the corner. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.